Welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Welcome to a program on target. As usual, as soon as we start this program, you could pick up a telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything. Politics, religion, socioeconomic issues. But most important, you have the authority to interrupt us at any time and ask any questions you want. Raise any subject matter, or you can seek our opinion on any issue. We express our opinion, particularly where politics is concerned. We remind you that our opinion is based upon the information we have at the time. If we have new information and we believe we were wrong, we change our opinion. We encourage people to do research. There's a lot of people on radio and social media, Facebook, TikTok, whatever, and a lot of statements are made. You have to determine if it is true. You don't have to be no scientist to do research, because you're not researching to write a book. You're not researching to pass exams. You're researching to have the courage of your conviction. You could ask questions in your community. You could seek information. Even if you don't have a good authority on the telephone, you could ask your children to Google for you. And particularly if it's you that paying the phone bill. If they don't help you research, don't give no money for the phone bill. Remember, you have authority. If you're buying the phone and you're paying the bill and you ask to research information within reason, and they don't do it, don't give them money for no phone bill. We could address the challenges that we have in the country. We must believe we could do it. One of the challenges that we have that exists in Grenada, 70% of our children exiting, leaving school, cannot meet the minimum requirement that would give them some level of competitive edge on the job market. Our educators are dodging. They're lying. They're trying distraction tactics. Some of them even so bold, they're telling you your child is not academically inclined. Whenever they do, ask them to write it down and sign it in so you could make it public. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah. I guess you're still following up the war in Ukraine.
Yes, ma'am.
And development in Russia.
Yeah.
With this
Wagner group.
Rise. Yeah. Do you know that the Wagner group is a group that causing a lot of problem in Africa?
Of course.
Yes, the Wagner group is behind a lot of massacres that is going on in Africa.
They consider them as a mercenary group.
Exactly.
So when they do the crime, no country could be attached to them.
Okay. So you see now, the rising up of certain things could educate people about certain things, because I didn't know about the Wagner group until they rise up the other day, and now the secrets are coming out that this organization is one of the most dangerous organizations in the world.
Very powerful.
They control the oil, the resources in Africa, in one of them countries in Africa there. I just can't recall the country now. And that's how they make their money. They are well paid. So I would like people, when people, a lot of people is against Putin, and I would love people to do their research on who is rising up against Putin, because all of them are together, because it's Putin they're working for, and they are working for the Western world in Africa, destabilizing the countries in Africa, having leaders running for life in Africa, in power for life in Africa, and they are destabilizing Africa. So I would like we to be careful who we support in this war. And another question, I want to ask you a personal question. What do you think about the inclusive educational system where all kids are allowed to go to secondary school? I would listen to you off air. Thank you.
Yes, scholar. Sometimes the action government and people take look good. It look good. But I always tell people sometimes you have to obey logics. If it don't good for you, you must be suspicious. So I'm extremely suspicious about the government decision to do away with the schools so at least the public don't know. The government could use that as a means of political victimization. And let me give you an example. Let's suppose you have a loudmouth NNP on the radio, and that child passed to go in one of those top schools or the first school of the choice. The government could, because they are not making the grades public, could send that child where they want. You see, I'm extremely suspicious when the government introduced restorative justice, when the government tried to sneak laws into parliament to control information, when the government set up the MIT, which I know it is for political mischief, and when the Prime Minister said, we campaign on a principle of transformation, but it is not really transformation, it is restorative justice. So this system could be used to discriminate against children. Croco have a song in Trinidad that is sung based upon the education system there. And he was saying, based upon your surname, you're going straight in junior sec. The school you attend could make a big difference to the level of education that you get. You have a little boy in Ticolo. His father tell me that in the rum shop. He tell him mother he want to go in PBC. The mother ask him why. He said PBC have a choir, and I want to go in the choir in PBC. The mother laughed. The mother said, first of all, Ticolo children doesn't end up in PBC, or GBSS, or Convent in Tongue, or Anglican High. And she said, you dunce as what? You head hard as Google Lame. How you want to reach there? He told her he find out. And if you come in the first 300, you're going to get the school of your choice. The mother said, well, how are you going to come in the first 300? You don't tell me the teacher don't like you already. But the little boy decides he's going to come in the first 300. The mother said, when children go in and play studying, he did come in the first 300. And he did end up in PBC. And he had the opportunity to travel to Trinidad, Barbados, and Guyana while he was a student in PBC. And he did join the choir. And he did very well in the result, GC or CAPE or what they call it now. So when you hear you have government that insensitive to the elderly, the physically challenged, and even disadvantaged children, and the government introduced restorative justice and set up over $70 million for that ministry to function, you have to be extremely suspicious about the government action. I don't think the government is genuine. What government need to do is to concentrate on the productivity level in school. The Minister of Education has been part of the establishment all his life. He was in the top position that he could have initiated change. Based upon my research, he is not an agent of change. What you will have, they'll maintain the status quo and try not to unruffle feathers to get in the union bad book or the teacher's bad book. And I would not be surprised if more than 70% of our children does not meet the minimum requirements. I speak because I believe the time has come for people to look seriously at how we are disadvantaging our own people. I've said on many occasions, I don't care about reparation. If you get reparation money from England, France, Belgium, Spain, say thank God. Anywhere you get money is welcome. But I don't care about reparation because the black man sold us in slavery. I see so much effort is made in Grenada for the same poor people children to keep their own people down. 70% of the children that exit school, that leave school, that finish school, cannot meet the minimum requirement. Now you hear people talking about artificial intelligence. And in the same vein, they're telling you that your children is not academically inclined. Are they professionals in that area? Did they study in that area? They would not put their signature to any paper or document that tells you your child is academically inclined, but they want to send your children to other schools. When your child go to school at the age of 2.5, 3, so that means for 13.5 years, your child is in primary and secondary school. That is where emphasis have to be placed to get your child a basic education, to reach the minimum requirements, so that irrespective of what field that child goes to, they will be able to be competitive on the job market. That ought to be our objective. If you're making furnitures, and out of every 100 piece of furniture you make, 70 of them have a serious challenge that you would not get premium price for them, you are not a good furniture maker. If you dig in potato and 70 out of every 100 potato you dig, jug up, you can't dig potato. If you dig in yam, and the majority of the yams that you dig jug up, you're not a good yam digger. If you teach in maths, and 70 out of the 100 children that you teach cannot pass maths, you better go and teach scripture. You're not a good maths teacher. You can't teach maths. Better you go and teach history. You do good. We must insist that our educators become more productive. There is no justification. In yesteryear, people believe that you head hard. They used to say, take Ned Toddy, nigger head to damn hard. They used to believe that we have bad blood. They used to call the skin on your back hide. And they used to beat you mercilessly. Whether it was bad or good is not the issue. The intention was good. At that time, you could have made excuse. You could have said there is no electricity. I didn't have water to bathe. I didn't have lead pencil. I ain't eat food today. There is no excuse now. Government spend 11% of the GDP, 10-11 on education. And when you do comparability, that is good. The schools are better structured, of a better quality today than any other time in our history. We have a better transport service. Electricity, telephone, water, and internet in Grenada is second to none, better than most, and comparable with the best in the Caribbean. Our teachers are better educated, or better say, better certificated. They're more trained, and they are better paid than any other time in our history. At least 20% of our teachers drive themselves to school. So when you go to a school in yesteryear, they had one Volkswagen or Austin Cambridge or Morris Minor Carde, the principal. Today, when you go to a school, you have so much vehicles in the yard, you think it's a funeral you go to. Because more than 20% of the teachers or the educators have vehicles. There is no reason, none at all, why we should have this high level of low productivity in the school, except we're bad-minded. We have a mentality that some people must fail. I think the answer have to come from the parents. The parents have to recognize, and when I speak about parents here, the first parent is the woman. The woman, not the man, the woman. Why do I say the woman? 60% of the household are led by women. 10% of them children are wrong father. Some father don't even know if the child is dead. And in any society, you could have 8-10% fathers with wrong children. Some people have to bring up fathers in the court for them to mind the child. They're running. So the woman is responsible. The majority of principals in school today are women. The majority of workers in the public service are women. I don't know if you have any magistrate now that is not a woman. So the woman, you is responsible. You have to want education for your children bad. You see, if we don't face these realities, we are not likely to address our challenges. Women have to be hungry for education. For 9 months or 8 months or 1 year, you had that child in your abdomen, in your belly, in your womb. Some of you all didn't want the child, but you kept it. And that is good. Because a child is a gift from God. The circumstances under which you got impregnated might have been difficult. But the fact that you kept the child, you must be respected, honored, and supported. So now that you have that child, you have a bond with that kid, you must understand the value of education, and you must get hungry for education. You must be more hungry for education. Find out from the teacher in the school, whenever you have the opportunity, what is the minimum requirement she expects the child to have on exiting school? Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
And how are you?
Great, man.
Right. No, I like this thing you talk about parents and minding children. Because I too have a son who is not minding his child. Not one, you have two and you're minding one.
The child is his?
Yeah.
You-
And
you-
the child, one, for that matter, one staying with me.
Well, right. So the grandfather had to mind it. You had to take the task and mind it.
Yeah, but he fathered the child into the world. And any man that fathers a child into the world don't want to mind it. I can't like that.
You see, we have a society that we have to encourage the men and show them the wisdom.
Well,
And our society is not doing that.
I do more than encouraging him.
Well, the fact that you have the child, he said, thank God, you go mind that. You
I
see?
do more than it. You know, but it's a sad thing.
Yeah.
Very, very sad thing. Mr. Pierre, you talk about some things there. Now, I heard a statement yesterday. The Prime Minister, Present Prime Minister, said that when I think his company or his law firm is an agent for passport selling. But he said that when he had to absent himself about twice when the decision come up, when they come up to have to make a decision in person. Now, I don't believe that the Prime Minister absenting himself twice going to make any difference. Because the persons in the cabinet would support anything going the Prime Minister's way. So I don't believe he's separated. Even there's a next gentleman who is in the cabinet too, who is also responsible for the sale of passport in Grenada. And I don't believe. You see, whether it was the other party, same thing, you know. This make-believe things that people believe, you know, I don't believe it. This make-believe thing, I have no belief in it. Right? If you're not supposed to be there, you're not supposed to be there. Not you absenting yourself when a decision come up that you have to perhaps say something and it might look prejudiced. I don't believe. And if it happens if it was happening under the last government, it was still wrong. The Prime Minister also said that the people in Carriacou, he was questioned by Mr. Bob about the person that was fired in Carriacou. And he said that as far as he's concerned, he didn't hear much about it. But as far as he's concerned, it's about 2 or 3 persons. And you get those things happening when people working. Sometimes persons can agree with their bosses, or the boss can agree with things, and they will have dismissal. So, but if anybody in Carriacou is concerned, they can take the matter to court. For a Prime Minister to telling people that, I see it as, I can't find a word, but the Prime Minister should not have to encourage people to go to court. The Prime Minister should be looking to put remedy where things like that happen. If people are dismissed, and I think you should get to the bottom of why they dismissal. And if the person need to be dismissed for discipline or whatnot, or not carrying out your duty, I have no problem with that, whether there is an NDC or an MP. But if you go to maliciously send home somebody, as I see happen already and hear happen, if you're going to maliciously send home somebody because of the political action, whether NMP and NDC, I am totally against it. For the Prime Minister to support that they go to courts now to get a recourse, I don't think that is fair.
You see, caller, the Prime Minister have to be dumb, stupid and dunce to believe that the majority of people in Grenada believe it. You notice none of the journalists asked the Prime Minister of Grenada what he mean by restorative justice. Because restorative justice in its practicality is really political vengeance. None of the journalists asked him that. The statements the Prime Minister making, and he goes to these journalists that he considers safe, so they would not ask him relevant and pertinent follow-up questions.
I heard Mr. Bowler earlier on the station. Well, I didn't hear much of it because I came in late. But some people were throwing things at Mr. Bola, what NMP did. And Mr. Bola answered them the correct way. If NMP did anything that was wrong, it is still wrong. It doesn't matter if NMP do it. It is wrong. A gentleman, Mr. Jude Bernard, was trying to...
He said it's realignment.
Yes.
Mr. Jude Bernard say reparation mean realignment. So these individuals are using words that they believe they can trick the ordinary man. And I think they're dumb and dunce.
You see, what people don't understand, they pass expecting Mr. Bola to say, yes, the NMP do it. If the NMP did it and it was wrong, it is wrong.
But it doesn't matter who do what they're doing there.
It doesn't matter who do it. I don't concern. I am a Grenadian, and any leader of Grenada, anybody that is leading Grenada, and Mr. Eric Martley Gehring was one of the prime ministers that was beloved by the people the most, but he did wrong.
You see, if we don't take that stand as individuals, you will not get good leadership.
Yeah.
Because these individuals believe, because they have a briefcase, a certificate, and a lot of money, they could get away with these things.
So anybody expect me to say, because it was Mr. Eric Gehring, he liked the poor people and he stand up for poor people, he writing everything. They're wasting their time.
Perfect.
I would never support that.
Right.
Thank you.
Yes, my brother. So I think it's important for us to understand that. The Prime Minister go by these journalists, and these journalists are doing themselves injustice. When you are a professional, you have a reputation to protect. Otherwise, you're going to expose your red, and people are going to always take pot shot at you. They're going to say, look at how you're speaking to A. But when you had opportunity, you didn't speak so to B. So if these journalists want to maintain their reputation and the credibility, there are some questions that is relevant and pertinent. It is not hard questions, but it's relevant questions and follow-up that they must ask the Prime Minister. After 12 months, 3 weeks after the Prime Minister took office, he said it was restorative justice. Not transformation. And up to today, one of these journalists don't ask him that. I still hear NNP individuals themselves talking about transformation. It is not transformation, it is restorative justice. And the practicality and implementation of restorative justice on the ground is victimization. Mr. Tillman Thomas said it is rebalancing. And the great St. Jude say it is realignment. And the next one says decolonization and desanitation. And these people are dealing with human beings, you know. They become so insensitive. They become so insensitive. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller, welcome.
How you doing?
Great, man.
So is mobilization, implementation, and restorative justice then?
Well, the mobilization have no place because you're not dealing with a party. If a political party doing mobilization for its people, that's all right. But there is no place for mobilization in that. Yes. None. There is a place for implementation. Because people always say, because of the bureaucracy of the public service, you could find people that might be able to expedite that. So you will get somebody that is knowledgeable about the public service, and maybe somebody that is also a businessman to try to expedite it. Let things move faster. So there is no place for mobilization.
All right.
You could have had a small team 2 or 3 people helping to speed up projects.
All right.
But what he said there's a transformation was trickery. The NDC sat down in a lab and they lied. The Prime Minister said it is restorative justice.
Have a good day.
Thank you, Colin. The time has come for we have a long history. You know. We criticize Eric Gary mercilessly, and he deserves the criticism. For his eccentricities. And some of the statement he make, he say he's going to walk on water. Well, Gary Wright go tell you that not true. GNP say yes. So let's give it that. And other faults that we and the excesses of Garyism, the excesses. That he had the Tonton Makut, secret police. Remember when Maurice Bishop was demonstrating every day, sending trucks in the school and using school children to protect him? Our country had to appeal against that. You can't hide behind school children. Yes, scholar, welcome. Yes, scholar, welcome. All right, we lost the caller. So Gary Bishop was using the children because he knows Gary would not attack the children. So Gary called on his team, all the voluntary constabularies for the protection of human rights. He said each one bring a friend and tell their friend to bring 3 friends. No women. That is a few days before independence. No women. Because Gary never go and demonstrate with women. Bring men. The roughest of the roughest. Some say it's 300. Some say 5. If you speaking to a bishop, GNP revolutionary, they tell you it's about 1,500. But only men. And they singing, "You will behave yourself." They go try us for murder. And while Jewel had their own songs. And that was the end of the demonstration. The 2 sides clash in St. George's. They throw vehicle in the sea and they loot town. And when Grenville realized they loot town, Grenville loot Grenville. And then we have enough experience. So when the Prime Minister decide to tell lies of that magnitude, it's a pile of lying. You have to say no. You can't do that. The Prime Minister tell lies to the elderly, the disadvantaged children, even the physically challenged. They tell lies to them. Yes, caller, welcome.
Greetings, Mr.
Yes,
Pierre.
my brother, welcome.
Greetings, Grenada.
Yeah.
I love your emphasis on education. And I think we should really, go back and think what really is education. Because since you're 3-year-old, they send you to school. And then you turn a man and you're still uneducated. And you realize the education system that you was under from 3 years old is just a brainwash education that turned you into a servant for the system. So I hope the people could wake up and realize education should be for creative, inventive behavior. So when we get education, we know we need 3 basic things in life: food, clothes, and shelter. Love, appreciation for each other, building new society, building roads, building house, learning skills how to build house, learning how to build an economy that you could sustain and maintain your people, your family, your community. That's what we should strive for in the world. Because the education system is just a Westminster brainwash thing that just have us going around in circles. Because since 3 years old, we go to school and then we turn old and we dead and we still can't really create a legacy for ourselves or for our family. So what kind of education are we dealing with? Look at you saying now, all the children graduating and they still can't read. What kind of education is that? You can read and count as a man in the world. Like, no matter. You useless really. So let's rethink that education thing. You know, as a people in Grenada, for example, we look up to people with education. Look at the man and them with the education are sitting down in power. They're just like continuing the same power game that Westminster playing, that they put them in position to play because they're educated. And they have us in that politics from since before Bishop and them. It's just politics they have Grenadian people in. Like just going around in circles. Politics can't solve the problem. It's unity. If we unite? We could do anything we want in Grenada. We could dispel the brainwashing. We could dispel them politicians with their tricks. And we could do better. So this generation should start ruling the nation with vision and vision. And not that kind of brainwash thing like we call in education. Because that ain't creating and inventing nothing. What we inventing in Grenada since for the past 10 decades? Nothing. And we have brilliant Grenadian people like all over the world doing things. For the same when it's Westminster system education we under. So let's wake up and try to get out under that thing and look for a brighter way, a brighter view. Not just for Grenada, but for the world. Thank you, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, scholar, thank you. Yeah. So our women have to understand. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Good afternoon. I am Shirley Robertson.
Yes, scholar. Yes, my daughter. Yeah.
Calling to say thanks for everybody what lobby with me. They put me back on the seed program.
They put you back on the seed program?
From this month.
All right, thank you very much. Yes.
To thank everybody. Thank you.
Yes. I like the spirit of this scholar. It saddened my heart that you have to have a caller that call out and cry out. Her mother called. And when Onisto and others challenged her, she gave her telephone number and she said, investigate the case. Investigate my case. I'm on the program and I suffer from Parkinson's disease. We have a government that is so insensitive that is difficult for me to understand. Very difficult. Yes, scholar, welcome.
I must want to congratulate that young lady that just called to say that she's back on the program. Very polite of her. And I'm wondering if the Prime Minister didn't know that too. Just because he don't know, he just hear is a two-person in Carriacou. I wonder if he didn't hear.
Prime Minister of Grenada is very insensitive. And I said from day one, Grenadians have to ask who sent him in politics. He seems to come for a particular agenda. Not the reason politicians are going politics.
No, I mean, I really hope people will take this thing into consideration. You don't do these things to spite anybody. It should be, if the person is not pulling the weight, you get rid of them. You can't use people's political aspirations.
They even wanted to strip her of her dignity. You know. She had to call on the radio and cease.
And when you hear a man as Mr. Tillman Thomas say he don't know about the
Tillman Thomas says rebalancing. Rebalancing.
And I'm making it again that if the NMP did it, it was wrong. So don't do it and say, well, NMP do it.
Well, he says rebalancing.
Wait,
so you have to get to that.
Because a wrong from one, when you bring it back wrong, it doesn't make it rebalance.
Well, that is what his concept of it. They have these people on the program. You remember they say it's a handout program they have?
Yeah.
One of the individuals that visited this lady, they say, well, you have people worse than you.
They jump up about selling passport. Grenada selling passport to con men. Today you sell 900. You can't tell us one person that you sell for. Call the names of the person because under Kit Mitchell, the people that was getting passport was con men. So tell me those names now.
Russians, not con men.
You know,
Russians.
9,000. You haven't given a statement telling us what you do with those monies, but you boasting now. What is good for the goose must also good for the gander.
Yeah.
That is my concern.
Yes.
I'll talk to that lady.
Yeah. Everybody like to call and say what them prayer warriors doing and about God. As if God is a pipe. You know, you call on God, you open the pipe, you get water, you leave the pipe open. When you don't want water again, you go and call on God. God give the people prophets. They say they want king. God give them king. Well, you have to use your king. You had an experienced, well-tested team. You say you want a bunch of neophytes with no experience, except they have deep pockets and contact. And you expect them to be sensitive. The government is not sensitive to the cries and the needs of the elderly. The government has not provided economic justification for the removal of $150 from the elderly, the physically challenged, and also they remove money from disadvantaged children. Now, where they get these people in there? The time has come for the government to return the $150 and give them the retroactive pay. You committed a crime. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre, good day.
Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, good day. There's an excitement about some shipment of mango to the U.S. market when mango wasn't around yet. No mango filing duly still have just going on the ground. I don't hear nothing after that. So do you have any idea? If you hear anything concern that?
Sometimes, just I'm afraid to talk about cocoa. I'm afraid to talk about mango, you know.
Well, I cannot get excited when I hear this.
If the government is interested in mango, let the government plant 20 acres of mango in Grand Bay Estate. Stop this nonsense. If the government is interested in mango, plant 20 acres of mango in Grand Bay.
But the experiment somewhere in the U.S. market, but after I don't hear a word after, I don't hear people say like...
You have mango to export? And some of them are saying they're going to pay, what you call this truck that the electricity company does have to pick mango. They see some mango tree by the road that's supposed to cut down because it's falling on people's windscreen. Growing tall. That is the mango they see, you know? By the roadside.
All right, Mr. Perry.
Yes. So this government is a joke. I have said before, where agriculture is concerned, the NDC have the worst track record in this country where agriculture is concerned. They always speak about agriculture in glowing terms. But when you study them in history, they have the worst track record where agriculture is concerned. You see how they close down magazine board and open it down back? They close down magazine board, fire 90 people. And they say, well, you're working good now. Because you don't have 90 people to pay. So you're getting out. Never the human being. The government closed down, get rid of 30 workers. You know what is so sad? They set up those workers. You know? The minister and the permanent secretary went there and complimented them. Tell them they're doing a good job. Identify the estate as a great potential for growing weed. Yes, caller, welcome. We lost that caller? Caller, just call back. We lost you. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, hi.
Yes.
I must stop at the marketing board was never closed. So stop saying marketing board they closed. Marketing board always was open. Marketing board was never closed.
What they did with marketing board, caller?
What they did with marketing board? They lessen on some of the staff. Some of the staff get paid and go home, and they keep in some.
What impression you got when they was speaking about marketing board? What impression you got from the
The
government?
man gave 3 options. Okay?
What is the options?
Option 1, if either they do nothing and they close down, and marketing board stay just so and close down for itself, it will go bankrupt. Or they could help pay off some of the debts and keep some of the stuff. Or he take over everything and then take over all the debts, everything, and we will find I am private owner to run marketing board.
So what is the option that the government going with now? Because the farmers don't know. And we ask some ministers and they don't know. So tell us the option government going with now. Caller.
They do option 3, is that they take over all the debts and they lessen on some of the stuff and they will turn the marketing board private.
So they're going to privatize marketing board?
Yes, that is what is going on right now. Marketing board will be privatized.
So you don't privatize yet?
No, not yet.
So you don't close down to privatize yet?
Still in the making.
Would they maintain the name of marketing board?
I have no ideas yet.
Right. So,
it seems like it will change.
The government has not been fair with the public. The government don't tell the public what they intend to do. They're tricking the public. And it's unacceptable.
Well, the problem they're waiting for when the time is right.
Yes, I agree with you. When the time is right. The Prime Minister said information would be a need-to-know basis. I think the Prime Minister is dunce. You don't make these statements. Information is a need-to-know basis. And we have to come to the reality. Having a briefcase or certificate doesn't mean you have much sense. You just have a briefcase or certificate. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, man. Go right ahead.
Mr. Pierre, I just don't understand some of us. They don't close down marketing board. Which place you are the one selling produce? Huh?
But he said they don't close it. They're trying to understand. Obviously, not certain what they do.
Yeah, but which place marketing board open? He don't close down.
Caller, you know sometimes they just close the shop on Sunday and open my door in the back. So the shop closed, but you still could go in the shop. You know that. The rum shop closed, but one among the fellas in the rum shop drinking rum and the front door closed.
What?
And you know that?
Oh, yes, it's up here. Some of us great and people look easy.
But you know that the shop closed. They said pass in the back. The little boy go home and tell him mother the shop closed. They said Mr. James in the shop, go in the back.
The people are living sorted, marketing board closed. Well, when marketing board open, you open in St. George's?
Well, maybe the back door open. But the front door closed.
No, Mr. Pierre, we really just so easy.
But you have to understand with culture. We just close the shop door.
Some of them, they come in and talk on the radio, and they don't have a clue.
But and you know we just close the shop door, but open the back door. So they close marketing board front door, but the side door open.
The back door open?
The back door open.
So I don't hear no farmers. You say, that I tell you, some of the farmers are there linked with Mr. Pierre.
Well, the farmer don't sure. Where you go, you have to find out. Market, the door open? No, the door open. You didn't go on the side and knock.
No, I didn't go on the side and knock.
Well, you have to go on the side, go back. Mr. Hano, they in the shop at the conclusion.
But Mr. Pierre, the people are them insulters. They don't get a pay yet.
You remember when Papi shop closed? You had to call Papi. Papi. By the time Papi opened the window, the rum there on the shelf, long time.
Mr. Pierre, have a blessed day.
Thank you, caller. So, you know, we must never forget that our children is a gift from God. And women, you have to get hungry for education. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, welcome. Good to hear your voice.
And how are you?
Great, man. Yeah.
Well, I just don't understand the government making decision, and the decision doesn't consult the people. So we the people, we left flabbergasted. We don't know what to say or even what to do. Yes, I go to the marketing board when I was well in Carriacou. We open the door, and we have to look. You stand up first at the door. There's one teller, yes, and you have to stand in front of the door, and you're looking right, you're looking left, and you hardly see anything. You can't hardly see anything. So what happened now? The vendors taking the same thing NMP did was trying to get the people to use the marketing board, and you don't have plenty vendors on the sidewalk. No, the vendors and them is all out there. So what happened now? We're going backward all the time. We're not going forward. We want to go forward. So I just don't understand the mentality of this government in making the Grenadian people more stupid. We are bright people, as I say. Most of us have a briefcase of certificate, and we have a lot of understanding, and we have common sense. But what this government is doing is making us look stupid. He alone is bright enough to go forward, and we, the common people, have to stay down, like we're down in the class, and we can't move forward. So where are we going? Where are we going? Every time NMP, NDC step out or they step down, and NMP come in, they have to work hard to bring back the country back on its foot again. Thinking about the poor and the vulnerable people, creating opportunity for the young people to get work, right? Because they don't want to see the young people having an idle hand on the street. So what this government is doing, nothing, and that's the reason why they turn into crime, victimizing people, right? Killing each other. When you become ill and you go to the hospital, no medication. So what do they want us to do? The question begs to be asked. What do they want we the people to do, Mr. Pierre? So I enjoy the program. You have a wonderful program. Praise God, people like you and Carl Keaton and them, educating the Grenadian people. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Bye.
Yes, scholar. We have to provide some semblance of advice for the National Democratic Congress to understand. You have to stop their lies. I think that's where the Congress is going wrong. They tie up themselves with a whole pile of lies, and they're trying to explain lies. Yes, scholar, welcome. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Yes, my brother.
You could see, always that you could see hate the elders, they hate old people. Because listen to Ron right here in Parliament. The man say, yeah, people 73 years in the man, all his brother could say that. That alone could say you're running them, the NDC. They don't like elders. But I say every day, it's time for the NDC to give back the old people the $150 this time. Otherwise, cost taking them in. A cost will take them. Thank you, Mr. Pierre.
Well, at this stage now, I think they need to give back the people the money. And unless the Prime Minister have economic justification, he must give them the retroactive pay. Pay them for the year you take out the money, the 9 months or what to take out the money. Because the government has no justification, none at all. Return the people's $150 and give them the retroactive pay. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, not only 70-something, doctor in it too. And the question I was asking, who put the doctor? The doctor must have a friend name for the doctor name today. How doctor could be in the seed program, Mr. Pierre?
They say they have a doctor in it?
That is what the people say.
Well, sometimes...
Press conference with the Prime Minister.
You remember, caller, you have to be careful with that, you know, caller.
Somebody go call you again.
Caller.
Go call you and tell you. And listen it with Pierre and Bob.
When they say they have doctor in it, sometimes it's doctor of love, doctor of rum. You have a lot of doctor in it.
Well, this is it.
You know, in the rum shop, yeah, man, we give doctorate.
I don't know who.
Honorary doctorate.
Mr. Pierre, doctor in the seed program. I don't know who are the doctors.
Yeah.
Somebody will call you and correct it again.
Right, okay.
Later.
So once the government don't have an economic justification, They must give the people the $150 and give them the retroactive pay. You don't have to give them the retroactive pay all one time. You could give it in phases or stages. But you have a responsibility. Otherwise, that is a crime. There was no justification to remove the people money. You use the information from the World Bank to assure them that your presence would cause them to get $650. You tricked them. You did the same thing in 2008. Nobody expects you to do the same dumb thing twice. You did it. So you must give them back with retroactive payment. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, my brother, welcome. Good to have you.
Mr. Pierre.
Yeah, my brother.
You said that the Prime Minister say you give people $600. That is a lie, eh? That is the first lie you told.
Caller, we went over that already. Caller, do you want the tape? The guys played the tape on this thing, where the Prime Minister was using the information and the statistics from the World Bank.
Yes, he said that the World Bank said that the people is working for, if you're working.
I don't want to get tied up with the language he used. You know.
If you're working for under $600 a month, you poor. He said, if those people in this program, the World Bank was said, if they're getting less than $600.
That is why I said the Prime Minister is a fake, you know. Because
he
knew the language he's using going to deceive his supporters. That is why I said the man is a fake. You cannot do that to ordinary people. You cannot use language to deceive them. I'm against it. I don't agree with it. You cannot use language to deceive people. That's one of the reasons I come on radio, you know. I listen to a radio program and they're laughing people grammar. When people call on the program, the personnel on the program was laughing people grammar, trying to intimidate the people. And I know my grammar ain't good too. So that was one of the reasons that I had me on radio. But the most important one was education. The Prime Minister implied he might not have said, we're going to give you $650. That is what we want to hear. He didn't say in words, we're going to give you $650. But he implied that. He wanted the people to believe that. In the same way, when the Prime Minister said we're going to pay you the pension, a number of people who were not qualified believed they would have got money. So the Prime Minister did it purposely, so he would have that effect. The Prime Minister played job. The Prime Minister is not playing with oil oil. I was corrected on radio that he's not playing with oil oil. He's playing with food-grade substances. But the Prime Minister refused to call on the individuals not to play with oil oil. This is the Prime Minister we have. And we have to face reality and help him to get a change on the Damascus Road. So he'll be a better Prime Minister. So if you like the Prime Minister caller, beg him to give back the people the $150. We're back with you tomorrow again between 12 and 1 for another opportunity to punch.